Mr. President, Agapite Prodere, Agapite File, Prime Minister, Agapite Alexis, Chairman, Agapite Theodor, Commissioner, Agapite Joa, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be with you this evening. One has always to say that when one is addressing an audience, but this time it's really true. I'm happy to be here because I know that this is an important event in the Greek calendar. And I would like to thank the Hellenic Federation of Enterprises for giving me the opportunity to address so many representatives and actors of the real economy here in Greece. It is a great pleasure to be here again in Athens tonight, because during my long political life, some of the most important events have taken place here in this country and in its capital city. It is now 35 years since Greece joined the European Economic Community, as the European Union was called in that time. And I remember celebrating the news. You have achieved a lot. The country has modernized. It has opened itself to the world, and it has taken its rightful place at the heart of the European family. Today, even in times of difficulty, Greece is a free and vibrant society, and it is a vital member of the European Union. The achievements of Europe should never be taken for granted. This European Union has faced its worst economic, financial and social crisis since World War II, and is still struggling with the consequences. I have often used the Greek word polycrisis to describe the current situation. Our various challenges, from the security threats in our neighbourhood and at home, to the refugee crisis and to the UK referendum, have not only arrived at the same time, they also feed each other, creating a sense of doubt and uncertainty in the minds of our people. For too many years now, Greece and its people have been at the eye of the storm, and today I want to salute the patience and the determination you have shown. Your actions and your sacrifices underline your commitment to the task facing your country. They are also a testimony of your place within the European Union. Tonight, I want to bring a message of determination and a message of hope for Europe, for Greece, but it is a demanding message at the very same time. I bring this message, yes, as a friend of Greece. And as you know, friends are allowed to share some uncomfortable truths. For me, the challenge which this great nation and people are facing is not only economic and social. It is about building a modern state, a state which is able to deliver on the promises of this great democracy, a state which cares and which works for its people, a state which makes Greece a proud member of the European Union. My personal commitment to Greece and to its place in the euro area, where it belongs, securely anchored, is nothing new. I have always put my trust in the Greek people, and it remains there today. Even before I took office as the President of the European Commission, I worked with a number of Greek governments to keep the country firmly in the euro area. It was under my presidency of the Eurogroup in 2012 that we agreed to a significant restructuring of private debt and envisaged the possibility of debt relief in the future. And even before taking office, I made it clear that mistakes on all sides had been made, and I wanted to change the way things are done. I wanted to replace the Troika with a more democratic and a more accountable structure. I argued that the European and national parliaments should play a bigger role, and I wanted a stronger social dimension for the European Union and for any future programme. Keeping Greece in the euro area was a political and a democratic process, and it was a hard fight. Alexis, you remember it. We had summits of the finance minister, endless day and night meetings of the heads of state and government. Parliaments of the euro area were mobilized. Pressure in the markets, pressure in the media. I did not like what I heard. And I did not like what I saw on both sides. Finger-pointing, insult, scapegoats, lies. We saw the ghosts of the past. We saw Europe at its worst. I fought for the dignity of the Greek people. I fought for the respect of all the other democracies of the euro area. And I fought for the general interest and the values of the European project. And I fought for a simple idea. In the European Union, responsibility and solidarity go together. For me, Greece's exit from the euro area never was and never will be an option. We had to say it, and we had to fight for it against all the bien-pensants and naysayers suggesting that the Greek exit from the euro would be good for everyone. The same who are now suggesting, but this time they are right, that it is best for another great nation to stay within the European Union. Today, let me say this. It is vital that our view prevailed. I'm not a man who hides or exaggerates problems, but an exit would have been catastrophic for everyone, starting with the noble people of this country. The agreement we found last summer was agreed by all 19 euro area member states, including Greece, and I'm happy that Greece is now anchored securely within the euro and that Greece now has a chance to rebuild its future. All of this is happening at a time when things are changing and taking a new shape across Europe. Too often we focus on crises and we forget the bigger picture. And the bigger picture tells us that a lot has happened in Europe over the last 20 months. In our first weeks in office, we launched an investment plan for Europe, mobilizing 350 billion euros, a plan that has already mobilized more than 100 billion across 26 member states, including Greece. We are pushing for new sources of growth with new strategies for digital single market, capital markets union and energy, and the commitment to better regulation, which is unprecedented. We set our new roadmap for the future of the euro, and we reformed our European economic governance so that we can better support our member states as they modernize their economies and giving them new flexibility to carry out reforms and investment. The Pact of Stability has not been transformed into a pact of flexibility, but flexibility we need. And we are pushing for a strong social agenda, focusing on skills, rolling out the youth guarantee, and promoting health and safety at work. And if you look at the facts, there is recovery in Europe. There is job creation. We have created 5 million jobs since 2013. The employment rate in the European Union is higher than it was in the year 2000. So, in spite of global uncertainty, Europe is very much on the mend. So this is not the world of blind, stupid austerity, which many people continue to fantasize about. The idea of austerity, of blind austerity, is something I never supported and I never will. Together with this new momentum in Europe, the efforts that Greece has made since last summer and the encouraging first signs, we are creating a window of opportunity. And with the new agreement on the first review and on that measures, Greece now has the chance to turn the corner. This program is much more than a program of fiscal consolidation. This is about modernizing the Greek economy and the Greek state, because the Greek state has to be modernized, so that we can put in place the right conditions for economic growth and the right conditions for business. This is about providing guaranteed pensions for your children and for your grandchildren. This is about combating tax evasion because we have to finance in a fair way public goods. This is about dealing with corruption and cronyism, about corruption and cronyism. This is about speeding up justice. This is about establishing a modern welfare system which can protect and redistribute according to people's needs and which ensures that there is a minimum income for the most vulnerable. And modernizing the state also means a Greece that carries out its European duties when it comes to managing EU borders and receiving refugees. And today, I want to recognize this country's response to the refugee crisis and pay tribute to the women and men who have opened their hearts, opened their doors, helped to save lives and helped to restore dignity. But this generosity needs solid institutional backing. We expect a lot from Greece, just as we expect a lot from the other member states to stand behind European commitments to manage the refugee crisis. And here again, solidarity and responsibility go together. The priority for the coming years, the program which Greece and its partners have agreed together, is about building a modern and resilient Greece. I should probably be less blunt, but this is perhaps the last chance to do what is good and what is necessary for Greece. In my political life, I had often to recall the words of a great advocate of human rights, James Clark, who said, "A politician thinks of the next election, a statement of the next generation." What we need now is clear: broad political support, full ownership, efficient implementation on all sides. Implementation is of the importance. Let us be clear. It is the Greek government which ultimately decides the policy mix to achieve the program targets. It is the Greek authorities at all levels who ensure that reform brings real change on the ground. You are not doing this for Brussels or for the creditors. You are doing this for yourselves, for your people, for your future, which is a European future. This should be clear in everyone's mind. Those who say the contrary are the enemies of trust and are the enemies of progress. They are the enemies of the confidence and the stability which is so much needed for this country to recover. And let us not fall for conspiracy theories either. I can assure you, there is no conspiracy against Greece. There is no conspiracy against Greece. On the contrary, I see a lot of straight talking, an abundance of goodwill and genuine hope that Greece succeeds. This is why I want to see all Greek governments, now and in the future. Alexis, your government is not the last one. There will be other governments after yours. But I wanted to say here that we have the best relations possible. We were starting in a dark corner, and now we are moving in the light of the sun. And I would want to see all Greek governments respecting this agreement with sincerity and with determination and with ambition for the Greek people. I know that the Greek people have already suffered a lot. It has not been easy, and I do understand why many still have doubts about where this road is leading and whether it is worth the price. But let me say this. Today, confidence, stability, and also growth are returning. We can see the first results of the latest efforts, and they are cause for hope. Greece, somebody was collapsing there. I said, they are cause for hope. Greece now has an opportunity to turn the corner and return to sustainable and fair growth that will produce new jobs. Thanks, I have to say it, thanks to the Commission, Greece has already been given exceptional conditions to benefit to the fullest from European funding. Between 14 and 20, the European Union will invest more than 35 billion in Greece, 20 billion from the European Structural and Investment Funds and 15 billion from the European Agricultural Guarantee Fund. This money is money for the real economy, and I would like the Greek authorities to use this money because the money is there. We secured a reduction in the national co-financing rate and a green light for front-loading financing. Together with the clearance of state arrears foreseen under the new disbursement, these can be a very powerful stimulus to the economy. These better conditions are already paying off, and thanks to them, Greece is now the best performer in the European Union when it comes to absorbing structural funds. 95% of the funds are absorbed. EU funding is vital money for the real economy. It supports entrepreneurship, innovation, small businesses, education and training, energy and transport, the transition to a low-carbon economy and the efficiency of public authorities. And these are very concrete priorities and projects. Take, for example, the regeneration of the seafront in Thessaloniki, which will strengthen the local economy, make the city greener and more welcoming to tourists. Take the construction and extension of the Athens metro system, which helps reducing traffic congestion, smoke levels and journey times. Take the refugee crisis, where within the past year, the European Union funded more than 850 additional staff and equipment to help the Greek authorities manage the flows, providing food, shelter and basic needs for more than 50,000 migrants arriving to Greece. In addition to existing European funds, we expect the investment plan for Europe, which is also known as Juncker plan, not because I called it like that, but those who thought that this would be a total failure, they wanted to pre-identify the one who would be responsible for the failure. Since it works, it's no longer called the Juncker plan, it's called now Investment Plan for Europe. This investment plan for Europe, we want it to play an increasing role in Greece and a complement to other sources of financing. Since this plan exists, let me be clear, we are moving away from a culture of subsidies to one that facilitates private investment through risk-taking and risk-sharing. The success of the plan will depend on improving the framework conditions for investment, which is why we insist on the pursuit of reforms everywhere. The investment plan for Europe has made a promising start, and I'm delighted that it has now arrived in Greece. We recently announced the first projects funded under the new European Fund for Strategic Investment. An innovative agri-food company will use a loan from the European Investment Bank to invest in research and development and grow its business. A guarantee from the European Investment Fund will help a bank in Thessaloniki to finance small and medium-sized enterprises throughout the country. These are just the first projects, but they show the potential of what we can achieve if we manage to introduce this new logic of mobilizing private funds. As part of the investment plan, We have also set up a new project portal which is now up and running. It links projects and investors and already lists around 40 Greek projects. I mentioned funding, but our support goes further and includes hands-on technical assistance for reforms under the program, for the management of the refugee crisis, for new investment projects. We have set up an advisory hub which is now dealing with 50 Greek requests, and teams from the Commission and the European Investment Bank are now on the ground to help Greece to realize this. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I talked about Europe and its response to its worst ever crisis and how the Commission is playing its part by defending the European interest, by building bridges, by providing solutions. In short, by providing stability and direction in a time of uncertainty. I delivered this speech here 2 days before the British people take their biggest decision in a generation. So let's talk about Britain. History has taught us a simple lesson. Europe is stronger together. We are more powerful when we join our forces. We are more secure when we look out for each other. And we are more prosperous when we trade with each other. All too often, we take for granted what we have built. Peace among countries that knew only war. Freedom that is guaranteed by the rule of law. Prosperity that is built on the planet's biggest internal market. And a way of life that is the envy of the entire world. This is the patient work of generations of women and men. And we could not have done it without the British people. Leaving the European Union would put all this at risk. It would damage what we have achieved so far, and it would diminish what we can achieve tomorrow. To turn your backs on your neighbor and retreat into isolation would go against everything that Europe and the United Kingdom stand for. To leave would be an act of self-harm. But tonight, dear friends, I have said more, and this was my intention about this special country, Greece, which is close to my heart. A country which stands tall and proud at the crossroads of civilizations and which is open to the world. A country which is deeply rooted in its own history, an history that began with ideas. A country which has its own history shared with the rest of the world. A country which is still young and embraces its modernity with passion. Today more than ever, Greece is at the heart of the European family, and I'm convinced more than ever that this family will stand together. Long live Greece and long live Europe. Sas Afkaristo Poli Kalinishta.